A violent flood surge ripped through our floor, dragged me and Remy into a dark whirlpool, and we woke up half drowned inside a massive flooded secret lab with my cat Roni missing. The water level spiked so fast the concrete floor literally snapped beneath us. I grabbed a rusted pipe, Remy hooked her arm onto a door frame, and I was holding my cat Roni for dear life. For 5 seconds, we were hanging over a roaring dark pit like two wet, overpriced dangling keychains while the building collapsed around us. Then the pipe snapped, the door frame tore off, and the rushing water swallowed all three of us whole. I swallowed half a gallon of dirty seawater before my head broke the surface again. We didn't drown, but we got washed right into a giant pitch-black room beneath the street level. I was coughing up water on a slippery metal ramp, wheezing that at least we saved on water park tickets, while Remy was already wringing out her jacket, glaring at me like I personally coded the hurricane. My orange cat Roni was completely gone, lost somewhere in the dark current. When I panicked and started shouting his name, Remy just wiped muddy water off her glasses and told me Roni probably used his last brain cell to swim as far away from my annoying voice as possible. She didn't want me here. I didn't want to drown. Now we were stuck in knee-deep freezing water inside a place that made zero sense. Living around Remy is an exercise in emotional damage. She's quiet, hyper-practical, and incredibly toxic. Whenever I open my mouth to make a lighthearted joke about us dying like flooded rats, she reminds me that my survival strategy is pure luck, zero intellect, and useless screaming. We started wading through the flooded facility, stepping over thick black cables and floating trash. This was supposed to be the basement of a cheap tax office across the street. Instead, we were standing in a giant, high-budget physics lab filled with rusted server racks dripping in green mold. Dozens of cracked monitors hung from the ceiling like dead bats. The ceiling had a massive hole where the floodwater broke through, letting a weak, dim light filter into the room. Right in the middle sat a massive circular metal device directly wired into shattered glass tubes. I whispered that maybe it was a giant waffle maker, and Remy looked at me like she was actively calculating the murder charges in an apocalyptic wasteland before she started looting copper wire and heavy tools into her bag. I kept wading through the freezing water, checking under overturned tables and calling for Roni. Remy rolled her eyes and said if the current didn't drown my cat, my high-pitched screeching definitely would. I wiped the heavy condensation off a cracked computer screen near a fallen rack. On the plastic casing, there was a faded blue sticker with a torn barcode and 3 half-erased letters next to a high-voltage warning symbol. Whoever built this place abandoned millions of dollars in equipment in a total panic. Chairs were flipped over, control panels were ripped open, and petrified coffee cups sat on wet counters. Just as Remy was telling me to give up on Roni and grab something I could actually eat, we heard a tiny, arrogant meow from above. Roni was sitting comfortably on top of a dry, warm power supply, completely dry, staring down at us with giant blank eyes. He didn't care that I almost drowned trying to save him. He just wanted food. This little son of a bitch. Remy scoffed, packed 3 industrial flashlights into her bag, and told me to grab my stupid cat so we could leave before the rest of the ceiling collapsed. The planet might be turning into a giant aquarium, but almost drowning with a toxic neighbor and finding a secret lab proves one thing. Nobody knows what they're doing.